I want to talk about exactly how the Instagram algorithm works. Because in the social media marketing space, no matter what the platform may be, whenever the word algorithm is mentioned, there's uproar, there's confusion, and people don't really understand how the algorithms on all of these different platforms actually work. They get confused, they get frustrated, and then they complain when their content doesn't perform well. But today, I want to teach you exactly how the Instagram algorithm works, and this is information that has come from Instagram themselves. They split it into 3 different pillars, and I'm going to talk about those 3 different pillars one by one to help you gain a greater understanding of how the algorithm works so that you can work alongside it to help grow your account, your following, your audience, your influence at a faster rate. So without any further ado, let's just dive straight into pillar number 1. Pillar number 1 being interest. Interest. Now you might be thinking, what on earth? Interest is such a broad word. But when I say interest, the algorithm will only show your content to people that are actually interested in it. So this myth that the algorithm shows your content to a random 10% of your followers is a myth for a reason, because it's not true. If you've got people who are following you or just doing follow and they aren't actually interested in the style of content you create, the algorithm knows that. So it's not going to push that content to a random 10%, with people amongst that 10% being people who have no interest in your content whatsoever. It's going to be pushed to people that are genuinely interested in the content you create and the topic you create content on. So, for example, it's going to show it to people that frequently engage with your content, because that highlights to the algorithm that they are interested in the content you create. Or for example, if your piece of content is being showed on the explore page to people that don't follow you, it's going to be shown to people that interact with other content in your niche, because it displays to the algorithm that they are interested in that type of content. So interest is the first thing that the algorithm is going to look for. It wants to keep people on the platform at the end of the day. So it's not going to show them content that they aren't actually interested in. If they aren't interested in the content that they are being shown on their feed, the chances of them going off the app are high. And the reason the algorithm wants to keep people on the platform is because the longer people stay on, the more ads they can show. And the more ads they can show, the more money they can make. So by showing content that people are actually interested in, it's going to keep them on the platform for longer. So it's going to show them content from creators that they have interacted with before, or content that is similar to the content they normally interact with, because then they are going to be interested in it. So interest is pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is relationships. So the algorithm is going to push your content to people that you have built a good relationship with. If you talk to people in the DMs, it's going to show your content to the people that you frequently talk to in the DMs. If there are creators that you follow on Instagram and you frequently engage with each other's content, then the algorithm is going to see that as a relationship between you and that other creator. And because you have that relationship, it's going to show you each other's content. So now you might be thinking, oh, but I don't really have a relationship with anyone on Instagram. Technically, you might do. You may not realize it, but if you do have a solid engagement strategy and you are frequently engaging with other creators, the same creators over and over again, and they are reciprocating that engagement, the algorithm will see that as a relationship because you two are frequently commenting and engaging with each other's content. But this will teach you a very simple rule about social media. The clue is in the name. You have to be social. You have to build relationships on these platforms in order to work with the algorithm. Because when the algorithm knows that you have built relationships with people, then it's going to understand that you want to see content from these creators that you are frequently engaging with, talking to, showing an interest in. Because the algorithm's not going to want to show you content from someone that you've, one, probably never heard of, or two, that you just genuinely aren't interested in. That's why when you go onto your feed and when you first go onto the app, those posts that appear at the top of the feed tend to be from people that you talk to the most, your closest friends, your closest common creators, because the algorithm understands that you have built rapport with this person and therefore probably want to consume their content. So your tip here, start talking to people on social media. If you don't give on social media, if you don't start building these relationships, the algorithm isn't going to be able to understand who you have these relationships with, and therefore it then won't show your content to other people dependent on that pillar. So start engaging more frequently, start DMing people, start building those relationships in the DMs. The more people that you do build relationships with, the more people that your content is going to be shown to in the feed. It's quite simple when you think about it. So we have interest, we have relationships. Now the final pillar is timeliness, and this is quite a simple one. The algorithm will favor new content over old. So it's not going to show you a piece of content that was uploaded 2 weeks ago. It's going to favor content that was posted 2 hours ago. So that's why I recommend people have a frequent posting schedule. And it's why I posted daily for a very, very long time. I will never go more than 2 days without posting, because then I'm not going to be appearing in people's feeds as much. You want to be at the forefront of people's minds. So if you aren't uploading frequently, let's say for example you post once every week or once every 4 to 5 days, you are only going to appear near the top of people's feeds for probably the first 1 or 2 days that you have uploaded that piece of content. It's going to drop off very, very quickly after that. It's going to want to show all of the people that are scrolling through their Instagram feeds far more recent content from other creators that they have built relationships with, because they are more timely, they are newer, it's stuff people haven't seen before. So if you want the chance to keep popping up on people's feeds, you do need that consistent posting schedule where you are posting every day, every other day, at least 4 to 5 times a week. And if you are uploading once a week, you aren't going to be at the forefront of people's minds very often, because after that first day or two, you will simply just drop off. And when you drop off, that then doesn't help with the other two pillars either, because you aren't building relationships with people, and people probably aren't as interested in your content because you don't post nearly as often. So that sort of explains why people do recommend posting quite frequently on social media, because when you do, the algorithm's going to favor new content. So the more you post, the more of a chance that you have for your piece of content to come to the top of the feed and for people to actually see it. And that's essentially how the algorithm works. It's not that complicated when you actually think about it. It just looks at those 3 things, and they all have a very, very similar goal of wanting people to stay on the app. The longer that people stay on the app, the more ads Instagram can show. The more ads Instagram can show, the more money they have in their pocket. But that is how the Instagram algorithm works.